Short update. Been incredibly lazy, I feel, this break. Haven't really gotten anything done apart from tiny chores, walking the dogs. And today was meant to be my day of going out into the garden, and it's been raining. And not heavy rain, but we get like a misting rain up here that doesn't look like much. You just go, oh yeah, it's just a mist. And you walk from the car to a shop and you get soaked. And me just coming out of the laundry to come up into the house, you get wet. And it's deceptive. It's quite deceptive. I had to go up to the post office. Just walking from the truck up to the post office got quite wet, then had to take the stuff back to the truck. And thankfully I've got like a big rain jacket that I rarely use, so that came out of mothballs, so to speak. Put it on so that I could go back to the shops to do the other things I had to do. The thing that came was my wife made an order through USA Foods. Bought a few things that you can't get here. One of them is Nutter Butters, which I was introduced to maybe a decade ago when we were over there. Very Moorish. They've gotten a little bit skinnier, like thinner, but the beautiful thing about them is that they're vegan and I can eat them. And when I saw family size, I went, okay, yes, she's bought that. And she goes, no, I bought those for you, but I want one. So she got the first one, and I've had a few. When I bought my table saw, there was came with a redemption offer. When I bought it, it was on special, massively reduced. Came with the stand, which would have been an extra almost $200. That's really not something that I think I'll use. So I did say I want to get the wheelie version, but the redemption offer, you get on the website, you contact DeWalt, and you put in your sales details, and the redemption for this was a set of chisels. So my wife said, don't you have chisels? And I said, yeah, I do, but I noticed that these ones are a metal cap on the back, and so I'm pretty sure that they are metal all the way through, freshly using with a mallet or a hammer, more likely a mallet. The chisels I've got, they're more of a handheld handle. These have got quite a nice little grip with a thumb position in them. So it's got a quarter, a half, a 3/4 and a 1 inch chisel. So I'm glad that came, because I was just getting ready to contact DeWalt and say, what's the go with my redemption offer? I put this in back in January. So that arrived. The other part is meant to be a DeWalt random orbital sander. So that should be here soon. Been doing a little bit more tidying up in here. That's one thing I've been doing. Getting some stuff out of here and down to the workshop. Clearing up a little bit downstairs. The place is still rather chaotic with sort of things coming and going, and I know that the voice quality isn't that great on some of my videos. And I mean, I had the lavalier microphone that I bought that goes with the phone, but I have to take the case off the phone so that I can plug the receiver in. The original one I didn't have to do, and so because that issue happens, I rarely use this now. But when I've done recordings on the laptop, I was finding that the sound was like tinny or wasn't loud enough. I started using a different headset that was getting noise. I bought a microphone, and it came, if I just plugged it straight into the earphone microphone socket, it wasn't that loud. When I used this thing to use it in USB, that still didn't really help it. Like, you had to have your mouth literally on the microphone to hear anything. So I ended up getting USB headset It's clearer and blocks out the noise, but I'm noticing that, like, even though it seems to say my levels are pretty good, like, I'm not a loud talker anyway, but some commenters have said, like, it's low. We can't hear much of what you say. So I wanted to get a audio input, which I know that a lot of podcasters have said, like, or podcasters about podcasting have said you need an audio input. I heard them talk about one called the Focusrite. I couldn't remember the name of it, so I just sort of typed in USB audio interface, and one of the first links came up saying Focusrite, and I went, that's the brand. So I went in and started having a look, and they've recently come out with a new one. They had one for podcasters, which is just a dual input, but controls specifically for podcasting. This one here is called the Scarlett 2i2, 2 input, 2 output. The 4th generation upgrade from the 3rd gen, which is the one that I was originally looking at before. This apparently has some extra little fancy features. But you can use this with musical instruments as well, and because I do want to get back into playing my guitar, I'm going to try recording that, and now that I've got this, hopefully that will make the output sound better and make me a little bit more interested in continuing with it. I'm going to do an unboxing video for this because that's what you do, right? That's my update. Had the boys out for a couple of walks, as would have seen from the previous video. Didn't get one out yesterday. Wanted to do one today, but there's just too much of a chance of it raining on us again because it's been like this all day. Just felt exceedingly tired this break. The very first day, very tired, falling asleep. Yesterday, like, it's not like I'm not sleeping during the night. Yesterday I fell asleep for about 3 hours in the middle of the day, mid-afternoon. I just zonked out. I felt it starting to happen today too, around the same time, around 1:30, and I had to force myself to stay awake. So I don't know what's going on there. Kind of liking my new setup. It seems a little crowded, and I will do a proper showing of it maybe later in this video when I tidy up a bit. I'll catch you then. We're removing the grasses along the fence line, putting them in pots so I can move them around the back. But because I'm digging in the ground, I've got a little buddy. These guys come around the yard every time I'm digging because they'll find grubs and worms. And they are so approachable. I mean, I couldn't approach them, but they like hanging around. Hi, Bat-Bat. Bat-Bat. He wants to know what's going on, but he's got to stay on the other side of the fence. Just came down the backyard and there's all this, see all these little holes. At first I thought Batman might have been digging, but I've seen all these other little holes as well, and these ones around the roots of this tree. I'm going to check with some of the local Facebook groups and that sort of stuff, because I think this is signs of a bandicoot, because there were some people who had signs of bandicoots just a few suburbs up the mountain. Look, when you look at where my sprinkler is, there's a stack of these little spots. So there's the first part of my transplanting. I'm down in the back corner of the yard where I put all the agapanthus along here and these yuccas and that sort of stuff. And so these These are a wild iris, native iris, so they get the really nice white flower on it. So I've put them right down here. Now they're being a little bit more economical for me down this end, apart from this big clump that I pulled out, because they have spread out a lot. Because all of these came out of just one fencing section, the very first top fencing section on the driveway. Just basically replanting them this way. Obviously maybe not as thick, apart from this bottom one, which was a giant clump. But this iris kind of clumps and grows out just like the agapanthus do. So that's a decent length of thing. We're going to do this as far as I can up the fence line, because it's all coming out of the up near the driveway. And the reason for that is that we're trying to avoid having things that are flowering, if we can, in the front yard, because the front yard has become the default yard for the boys, and Batman's highly allergic to bees. And the vet has said if he got stung by a bee, it'd kill him, because he's had stings before with the previous owner. We went to the same vet, so it's got his history. We were thinking of putting these around the citrus trees because we need bees for the citrus. My wife looked out here and said, yeah, I think it might be better just to use them as a boundary along the fence line. And when you look at them, they're not right up against the fence line, so you can actually walk along there. And they will spread out, but there was a lot of bamboo I had to try and dig out, like the root system. Got this nice little pile of bamboo roots. I rinsed all the soil out of it, like sprayed all the soil out so that I can put them in the bin without being too heavy. But as I got towards the top edge of here, the bamboo roots were really thick, and I'm standing here right on a stump. I need to try and cut or dig out all these stumps because they keep bending the mower blade, and it doesn't matter what sort of mower I get, it's just going to damage them. Bananas are going well, those two. This one's seeming to be getting all right. When I was digging all these out up in the front yard, there was an odd looking plant in the middle of it. So I used my plant identifier app, and it said it was an avocado. And I've got a lot of avocado seeds in my compost. So we got an avocado tree growing. I've put it into a pot so that we can try and replant it somewhere. I'm hoping it survives being in the pot for the short time that it will be. So far I've dug out this first section, so there's the gate. Just the first section of fence. I've taken the grasses out, and they tend to thin out a little bit here. They were pretty thick through this section. Got a thin section here, and I found a couple of agapanthus growing in there, and I've just put them up in the front of the yard. So all these are the native iris, or the wild iris, down to about here. From here, we've got a different grass that rarely flowers. It gets a little purple flower. And then I've got a couple of wild iris just here, and a wattle that has sprung up, which I've got to try and figure out how to move, because I like it. And over here, I've got, I think this is a grevillea. I looked it up before. I don't know, it just sprung up out of the ground. So I want to dig it up so I can transplant it somewhere as well, because At the moment, it's in the road of the driveway, so got to move it. Hey, got no food, dude. I'm sorry. Yeah, you said it wasn't. Batman. Oh, it's alright. We just gotta go get your blood checked. Okay? We'll get your blood checked and see how you're going. See if your diabetes medicine needs to see if we've got to adjust your diabetes medicine. Yeah. In 2 weeks since we've adjusted his insulin, like increased it. So I need to see what his blood levels are like, and I need to get more insulin. I think it's been just on or over a month. We've still got some, but I don't want to run out. And since we're seeing the vet, I'll get more now. Weather's nice for an afternoon walk, but see that haze in the trees? They've been doing back burning or hazard reduction work, but about an hour ago, it was as clear as a bell here that you could see the smoke over the gully. See that smoky haze? They're doing the hazard reduction burning sort of a little bit south of us, southeast. And so far it looks like there's a fairly big patch burnt. There was a lot of smoke yesterday, but again, it wasn't affecting us. But it looks like the wind just decided to turn a little bit. This afternoon. So now the smoke's settling in our streets. Right, when I want to go for a walk. Anyway.